Well, essentially, the medication that is being used for more than 2 decades to treat gender dysphoria, which is puberty blockers, is entirely reversible, has been used with massively positive effects for those young people who have gone through that process to actually access that medication. We know that there are some young people who might regret that decision at a later stage, but it is a very, very low percentage. So less than 1% of regret. So what essentially this judgment is doing is ruling that for that one person who may change their minds, the 99 others must go through a puberty that doesn't align with who they are. And frankly, that's torture. And so this is hugely disturbing and distressing. And we are seeing thousands of families, thousands of us service users are in complete panic and disarray and are massively distressed, and as are their children, by this. And the fact that they're seeing the very real prospect of all of their current medication, if they're currently on blockers within the Tavistock service, but also people who've been on a waiting list that is over 30 months long, have now had all
Susie,
hope ripped away from them that they're going to get any support at all.
sorry to interrupt you there, but then what do you say in terms of the reasoning of this, that 16-year-olds aren't mature enough to make what are potentially life-changing decisions, that they should just hold off a little bit?
Well, the implication of that is that transgender children are young people, so to say, are different to other young people because it is well versed, it is enshrined in law that young people are deemed to be competent as long as they have the capacity to make informed consent. And that isn't based on an age, that is based on that young person's ability to understand the reasoning and the implications of a source of medication. Now, what they are doing is they're putting an asterisk next to trans kids and saying, but not trans kids. And we don't believe that's fair.
Okay, and then just briefly now, your stance is very much informed by your own experience, by your own daughter's experience. To put a human face to this, could you explain what she went through, how you supported her, and why you have come to stand up for people who want to have these puberty blockers early on?
So my daughter was 13 when she started on puberty blockers, and we had to source them from the States. We went to the USA because at that point, within the UK, you couldn't get medical intervention before 16 years of age, which is what we've gone back to, which has put us back a decade, essentially. She started puberty blockers at 13 years old. She was terrified of going through a male puberty. In fact, she started the beginning of a male puberty, and that resulted in her hurting herself. And she said that if she went through a male puberty, then she would rather be dead. Now, she's 27 now. She did go on to cross-sex hormones when she was a bit older, and she then had surgery when she was older again. But the fact is, for her, she says if she hadn't have had access to that, she wouldn't be here now. And I think this is what I saw as a parent, and the massively positive effect that had on my child, who was isolated, self-harming, miserable, and actually giving her the medical support that she needed enabled her to get on and live her life. And at 27 years old now, she's still doing that. I'm not sure she would be if I hadn't have been able to get her that support. And this is what all of these families are facing now. I had a parent that I spoke to yesterday evening who told me that her and her husband had spent the last hour going through the house and picking up things that they thought could be potentially harmful that their child could use, because they were so afraid of telling her that the medication that she had been desperately waiting for, hoping that she would be able to access, was now completely out of the question.